Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, no, Jaga, coronavirus. We never see you lion family. Lion family, you are covered. I'm making me. Just make you good nature. In that post, keep good nature. In that post, keep Jesus Christ, no. On them, we walk with no blood like that. Jesus Christ, always ya walk for good nature. To phone that know them way. Good nature. At that more than a free station. Can you make you do me? Can you make you match you know?
Ana sasa so onye chimeleze gabueze ana ya chuwa nike ife chukwu nyageme anya da maka ike bata ni gamano anya da tujo ike bata fage kwete ayo there is power, mighty power in the name of Jesus Christ.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ. Watching millions. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, no, Jaga much billions. Oh, Jesus Christ. It can be a new good nature. In the post, keep a all woman are forever. Each yellow one of Africa. I'm the man, she want Janu Beju Majuno. Good nature. What does it see, Jaja? Go. Master.
Big smells up. Okay, everybody, what a joy to be kicking this off today. I am excited. I have absolutely no word to describe how I feel. Well, you're going to see my face in a bit, but you wait to see my face. I just want to quickly say this to you. Welcome to the Nigerian Conversation. Tonight we are doing amazing stuff. What a joy to be here. Thank you, brothers and sisters, and to my fellow Nigerians and Africans. God bless you real good. It's a joy to be with you right now. This is the very first edition of the Nigerian Conversation. And what exactly are we doing? We are repositioning, we are educating and mobilizing for the new Nigeria. And I'm excited and grateful that we are part of this movement, we are part of this change. Now, I want to say this to you before we go tonight. Click the share button, spread the news. Some of us, we've posted so many things about Nigeria. We've complained so much about the things that are not going great in Nigeria. It is time to join forces together It is time to join hands together to do something positive and creative for the betterment of Nigeria, to birth and to see the new Nigeria come to pass. So I'm welcoming you on board tonight. Me all over the world. I'm trying to get my Nigerian Yoruba out now. It's a joy to be with you. Click the share button, invite your friends, invite your family. And I also want to say this to you, that this is being streamed live on our YouTube channel, and it's also being streamed live on my YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube, just type in Toyo Olayinka, you will find this being streamed live right now, and you can put it right on you can watch it on your smart TV. You can invite your friends and your family, get together and be together to watch this. And it's a joy. It's a joy. And I'm excited about the blessing of the people that I've got with me tonight, who are the guest contributors. You know, so many times what I've noticed over the years is we complain, we murmur, we talk about the things that are not going well in Nigeria. And even in different places, sometimes where we work, sometimes in our church, sometimes in our organizations, we just complain. And when it's time to make change, when it's time to do something creative, something positive, we back off. We don't see people. But I want to trust, I want to believe that this is not going to be one of those experiences where we just post about things and talk about the things that are not working, but we will make ourselves available to see a new Nigeria come to pass. Let me say this to you. It's not by war. It's not by complaining. It's not by murmuring that you build something. If you're complaining about a system, if a system does not work, you will have to build a counter system to change that system. So I'm excited about tonight. I can go on and on, but I am not the guest. I am the host tonight. Once again, I want to welcome you on board. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you. Share, and share away. Don't hold it back. We're not trying to be popular. We just want to get the word out to as many people as possible. One of the things I've been saying, and I'll keep saying because it's so true, is the fact that you cannot wage war and win in ignorance. You cannot wage war and win without knowledge, without light, without understanding. And you do not unseat a principality in ignorance. You have to know. You've got to be in knowledge. You've got to be in light. And this is what this is about. And I'm excited about it once again. So come on, share it away, spread the news. Don't hold it back. You don't get to pay for it. Just do it for free and get the word out there. I'm not going to waste time. I'm just going to go ahead right now and begin to bring our guests on board tonight. These are wonderful people that I'm so grateful that they are part of these, and I'm so honored that they've made the time to be a part of these. And ladies and gentlemen, fellow Nigerian citizens and our friends from all over the world, it's a joy for me to introduce to you tonight our very first guest that I'll be introducing tonight is a counselor. I call her a counselor because she is a counselor. Counselor Shiju Ade, can you please help me welcome Counselor Shiju Ade to the Nigerian Conversation 2020 on the 8th of December 2020. How you doing, Counselor?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing very well. Amazing.
Now, listen, I just welcome for my Nigerian people. Listen, I'm going to try
and salute to my Hausa people too.
Exactly. I'm going to try to get some Nigerian and speak Pidgin English, speak my Yoruba, and say also to get used to it. This is Nigerian Conversation. And if you are one of our friends from another part of the world and you're wondering what we're saying, Google Translate is going to help you. I trust you. I'm telling you right now, Google will come to the rescue. Now, another person is an incredible man that I've known for years, and it's just incredible to know him, and also it's a joy to have him on board tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Henry Akitunde. Dr. Henry, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be on the show tonight.
Thank you so much for making the time. And ladies and gentlemen, this is my mom. I'm a Christian. I'm a minister of the gospel, and I'm blessed with an apostolic mother right in the United Kingdom. And I'm not ashamed nor afraid to say it. Help me to tonight, Apostle Jennifer Abigail Wilson Wallace. Help me welcome her.
Thank you. Mom. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Bless you. Good evening.
Right. Good evening, Mom. We're not going to put you through the pain of speaking a Nigerian language or Pidgin English.
Yeah.
Before we go on tonight, I just want to ask everyone who is watching, please let me know in section if everything is going on fine with the sound, if you can hear out and clear, if the videos are clear. Please let me know quickly before we unleash tonight. Come on, just let me know. Just put it in the comment section. Let us know if the sound is good, if the video is fine, if you can hear us loud and clear. That'll be much appreciated. Thank you very much. Somebody just quickly check it. Lovely. Can you hear loud and clear? Is the sound okay? Is the video fine? Please let me know. Quick one. We want to match the time we've got tonight. Somebody put it in the comment section, please. We've got many people watching. Let us know if you can hear us loud and clear. Quick buddy. Please. Is the sound okay?
I think so.
Okay. Okay. One second. All right, somebody. Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, sound is fine. And we kick off tonight. Thank you very much for those who just made us realize that sound is fine. God bless you real good. Now, tonight, this is the Nigerian Conversation. There has been, how do I start? Let me put it this way. To the world, to us, all the Nigerians, or Africans rather, Nigerian situation, the state of Nigeria, especially at the moment, is not news to us. In the month of on the 20th, specifically, after about a couple weeks of the youth in Nigerian youth actually protesting against police brutality and other things that are just rocking the nation, we experienced a thing, an abuse of freedom, an abuse that the government of Lagos State and the government of Nigeria are still denying. For me, there are no two words to use but heartbreaking. How easy to give instruction or give a command for people to be shot dead like animals and be comfortable, even lying about it to say, that it never happened. It's time. It is time. I have lived life a little. I grew up in Nigeria before leaving the shores of Nigeria to come to the United Kingdom, and I have seen things. I keep hearing things, and I keep seeing things, and I realize that oftentimes, what I've seen is a lot of times we're very good with revolution. We're very good with stirring the dust and making a thick cloud out of it. But oftentimes we're not very good with transitioning from what we're complaining about, what is killing us, to where we need to be. I mean, that, like I said before we came on board tonight, before we came online tonight, is the fact that I have come to see and also learn from other people that Nigerian situation is not just political. Nigerian situation is spiritual. And I know that sometimes people want to say, oh, I've seen all kind of things that people will post and about different countries and say China being taught how to make things. Children in the United Kingdom or United States are being taught how to make things, but children in Nigeria are being taken to church. I say this to you as a sincere Nigerian, 100% Nigerian, Ijebu man. I want you to know something. If you're not Christian, if you're Muslim or whatever, Nigeria is still Nigeria today because some people have taken the responsibility, have been given the responsibility even by God to pray for the land. So do you think that it takes just intellectual capacity or intellectual richness to build a nation? Every nation has a spiritual dimension to it. And we know that, and we're not negating the fact that there is an intellectual leadership or build a nation. But it is time to crack the ball. It is time to talk about Nigeria. It is time to talk and not blame, but talk to actually educate ourselves so we can actually begin to align ourselves to go in the right direction. Nigeria cannot be built by a few. Nations are not built by a few. Every citizen at home and abroad are responsible for the building of every nation. That's what this is about. Now, I'm going to kick off tonight for each and every one of our special guests tonight to share certain things with us about Nigeria. I'll be starting with a counselor. You're Nigerian. You before you left. What was your experience? What did you experience? What would you say about Nigeria?
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I was born in Nigeria, but before I was born, my parents, because my parents were missionaries, so they traveled to Ireland. So, so by the time I was 5, I came back to Nigeria, and I lived in Nigeria between the age of 5 and 12, thereabout, before the coup that we experienced at the time was the military taking over from civilians. It was so horrible, and I think that was the time my parents thought, okay, it's time for us to move away from the country and find peace and refuge somewhere else. But as that time, as young as I was at that time, I used to go to the market with my mom a lot, and I know the price of gari or the price of beans, or they call it Congo, the way they measure it, Congo gari or Congo ewa or Congo rice, so that's how the measurement, the matrix they use to measure and sell is per that container that I called Congo they we used to sell rice, and it was just relatively cheap. I know that my parents were still traveling back and forth doing their missionary work, and I would overhear them when they're talking to other adults that foreign exchange is like 20 naira to £1. No, it was about 14. It moved from 15 to 20 pounds. Sorry, 14 to 20 naira to £1 as of that time. And they will complain, they will lament, and that how is it that the foreign exchange is just going high and high. And to fast forward, I am talking about in the 80s now. Fast forward to 2020. I think I was talking to one of my neighbors who just recently came from a funeral from Nigeria, that how much he had to spend on the foreign exchange, and we're looking at 650, 660 naira to a pound. Wow. So from 20 naira to 660, really scary, really alarming that the country has disintegrated for that long. But it hadn't been all bad, because I do remember, if we were to look at the history in terms of the GDP, I'm sure you will have heard people talk about GDP, that is the gross development, what do you call it, per person, per capita, per person, how they will forecast GDP per capita per person, so as of 2010 to 2014, we saw an exponential increase that at 2014 and 2015 was the highest that Nigeria has ever experienced in a decade. Wow. And I wondered why that was so, because that was under the administration of Goodluck Jonathan, although we complained miserably about his administration for many reasons, because as much as the country made so much money, and that's because of the brains. Let's not forget that was because of the brains of Mrs. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. She was the finance minister at the time. She really worked hard, and it's no surprise that her position that she's just received, leading her new role now. It's no surprise that she's doing her job that she's doing now. But we can see that her brain, she managed to really stir the finances of the country, and we really had financial growth that, the GDP per capita for each person really peaked 2014 and 2015 when she was finance minister. But that was the last we saw it. Everything disintegrated from there. So it is worrying times, and no wonder that people took to the street to complain, because if to complain. But before I come to the citizens complaining, the civil servants or people that are working, they're suffering because their salaries are not being paid. It may not have been paid for months. Some over a year before their salaries are paid, government officials. So what would they do? They will take it out on the citizens. And we've seen that happening where they are taking it out on the citizens, and the citizens are saying that no more, we cannot take it anymore. You are suffering, we are suffering. We need to take action. Something needs to be done. Enough is enough. So I look at in the 80s to 2020, how things are disintegrated. No wonder people are saying that they've had enough. And rightfully so, they've had enough. And they needed to fight that, we need is it change of government we need, or economic change, or what it is? Whatever it is, people don't even care anymore. They just want a change, full stop. It could be spiritual, it could be physical, it could be, as you named it earlier, it could be so many factors. But the point of the matter is, Nigeria is where it is. Nigeria needs a 360 degrees change, and I think it's the whole structural system, to be quite honest, that needs a revamp. And but I'll let everybody else get into the discussion, and we'll take it from there.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. And that is very much appreciated. Now, it is a situation, it's not one-sided. However, there is a root cause. And if we really deal with a situation, we have to go right to the cause and go to the foundation. Like I said earlier, there are some things that in my life as a Nigerian, I have seen and have experienced. And even in ministry, sometimes we have to tackle them and deal with them because they are issues of mindset. Now, without wasting time, I want to go to Dr. Henry. Dr. Henry, let's say about your Nigerian experience in the nutshell, though you've been around for a while as well. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. So I was born in Nigeria. I lived like the first 3 decades of my life in Nigeria, primary school, secondary school, did my undergraduate degree in medicine, and worked for about 2 years or thereabouts in Nigeria before relocating to the UK. And I could see how things have changed significantly. So, for example, when I was in primary school, going to do the entrance examination into secondary school, it was, although I was young then, but I knew well enough to know that it was by merit. You could expect to go and do an exam, pass, and that was the case with me. I was living in the north then, in Sokoto, and I wanted to go to school in Jos. For some reasons, I heard a lot about Jos, and I just liked it. My heart was drawn to Jos, and I just chose the school I wanted, scored highly as I was expected to, and I got admission there. When I was going to get into the university, things had begun to change. But even then, those who did well on merit would still expect to get in. And that was the case with me. I didn't need to know anybody. But now I hear other things, and these are things that I hear because I'm no longer there. But it's almost like everything has to do with connections and how much you can buy your way through. And it's looking very difficult now I was, my father was a civil servant. My mom was self-employed all through the years that I knew. So we were middle class in every sense of the word. But as the child of a middle class family, I could aspire and still be able to fulfill my aspirations. It's not looking like that's the case now in Nigeria. And that's partly the frustration of the young people that led to the NSAS protests. It's almost like if you are not in the upper class, there's almost like no way, no opportunity for you to be able to fulfill your dreams and find expression. So I experienced the good bits of Nigeria, but even before I left, I started to see how things were changing significantly, and I can only imagine that trend continuing, what the nation is like today.
Oh, amazing. Thank you very much for that. And it's so true, because I remember when I was going to Nigeria, I took an examination to go to this military secondary school. And interestingly, when my result came out, we would check the result for the first time. I had enough point to be able to gain the admission when we're going to go and start the process. We realized that my results were swapped. And the officer we spoke to made it clear to us that, listen, your dad is no longer in active service. The person that your result had been given to, his dad is still in active service, and it's going to be tough for you to do anything about that. What we can advise you to do is go to another secondary school or come back next year to receive for it. So I'm going to test that. Nigeria of having to bribe away through Nigeria is real. Sometimes when you tell people these things, I know it's not just in Nigeria, but Nigeria, as far as I know, is on another level. People can almost ask you to pay them to breathe. I mean, I've got someone who came back just about a couple of months ago, and it was like, listen, I could not believe the amount of money that I spent in a week just having to give people out and this and this and this and that. We're going to come back to that, but I want to go to Apostle Jennifer. You're Ghanaian by birth, but you're Ghanaian by birth. However, you've had your ministry reached Nigeria based on what the Lord showed you and an instruction you were given. And I want us to hear that tonight. I really want us to hear that tonight before we begin to go to the aspects of things, and also possibly share your Nigerian experience when you went to Nigeria as well for ministry. Over to you, man.
Okay. Thank you very much for inviting me to join, even though I'm not a Nigerian. I'm a Ghanaian by birth. And I think initially, everything I knew about Nigeria was negative. I remember my first visit to Nigeria. And my sister, I went to Ghana, and I said to my sister, I'm going to Nigeria afterwards. She said, no, please don't go. Please don't go. And if you go, don't go and stay in anybody's house. And be careful. All I kept receiving was caution, caution, caution. But I went to Nigeria. I first went to Nigeria, I think in 2004, 3 or 4. And somehow the Lord puts a love for the people in my heart. Through a dream, He spoke to me that I could trust the family that I had linked up with. And so that opened the door. We have a very good relationship till date with the family. They are a brilliant family. They love God, they are trustworthy. They are everything, the opposite of what I had heard about Nigeria. I have seen in this family. So what we were doing in the beginning, because our ministry really had the focus to raise women from the place of mediocrity to be able to make an impact on the environment, to make an impact on society. We have a training called Free to Serve. So we took Free to Serve to Nigeria, and it's worked well. So in partnership with this family, and they also have a ministry, we began to organize prayer. So they would organize prayer in Nigeria. They had an annual conference, which they still do, and I would be invited to speak. But in 2005, the Lord asked us to do a prayer summit in Ghana for Africa. I believe that God is turning things around for Africa, and it's only a matter of time. We will see a huge difference. But we held this prayer summit in Accra, and we had the team from Nigeria come. So we interceded for the nations, nation by nation. And when we got to praying for Nigeria, the Lord showed me in a vision a picture of a woman, a naked woman, with her legs apart, and she was being raped. And the Lord was weeping and weeping over her and saying, my people, actually he was saying, my daughter, Nigeria. And I shared it. We prayed, we lamented, we asked for forgiveness, we asked God to deliver her. And somehow that put a burden on my heart for Nigeria and the people and the land. And we prayed and prayed. And in 2007, now I'm saying these things, you know how reluctant I was to come here.
I know.
And I am here because I believe the Lord wants me to be here, because otherwise, personally, I had even in my mind, I wasn't here. But I think that these are things he wants me to share so that people would see the first of all, heaven's perspective. People will see the spiritual aspect of what is going on, and people will seek God's face, because the solutions can only come from God concerning the Nigeria situation. In 2007, again, I heard the Lord speak to me about Nigeria and said to me, there is a sound coming from his ears from Nigeria, the sound of the land lamenting for the blood of people shed on the land, mostly for power and wealth. He gave me Isaiah 26, verses 20 to 21, which talks of the land no longer hiding the blood shed on it. So he said to go to Abuja and to pray that he would cleanse the land. So without telling anybody, some of these things the Lord instructs us to do, we do quietly. There's no need to tell anybody, even when it's done.
That's true.
I went with our partner ministry, the founder, and then another woman from Ghana, another pastor from Ghana joined me, and we went to Abuja. And we prayed and we interceded and we asked God for mercy to cleanse the land, to bring peace to the land, to cause the land to rest. When we finished, there was a massive outpouring of rain. I was going to minister somewhere in the evening. The rain was so heavy, the wiper of the car could not clear the windscreen. And we knew that God had answered our prayer. Wow. That night, the Lord spoke to me and called Nigeria a new name. He said, I call her Hephzibah because my delight is in her. Wow. So I got to know that this is a land and people who are very dear to God, and that his ultimate aim is to redeem her. Now, whether people believe that God is involved in the affairs of the earth or not doesn't change the fact that he is.
Come on now.
He's sovereign. The nations belong to him. And so if he has chosen Nigeria as a nation he delights in, who am I to question it? Gave me Isaiah 62 verse 4. And she shall be called Hephzibah. My delight is in her. Again, we kept praying, we kept pressing on. I would go to the conference in Lake. Normally we held it in Badagry. Yeah. Actually, different places. One's in Abeokuta, but we seem to settle on Badagry for a while. But on Christmas Day, in 2011, on Christmas Day, the Lord spoke to me in a dream, and he said, today I visit the nations of the earth. Mark my footsteps. Actually, the voice was so powerful, it woke me up. So that day, I was very careful. I listened to the news. I was observing what was happening in the nations, especially the nations, the countries our ministry is associated with in Africa. And also even I looked at Britain. On that day in Britain, for the first time, the Queen declared Jesus Christ as Lord in her Christmas, in her speech. So I observed that Boko Haram, on Christmas Day, that day that God said, I'm visiting the nations of the earth, mark my footsteps, Boko Haram did their initial biggest massacre in a church on Christmas Day. And then shortly after that, there was a major petrol crisis that almost brought the nation to a standstill. But somehow, because of the dream, I knew that God was up to something that was greater than the enemy, and somehow he would come through. Should I stop now?
I think you can share more, because you shared
Okay.
It is important to, especially the Kaduna.
I will come to that. Yes. So one of the things God has called me to is to intercede for nations. Gives me revelations about nations, about things happening behind the scene. And what we do is we take a team to wherever He shows us, and then we pray and deal with it. You know, I have walked the entire UK praying for the UK, mobilized prayer for for this land for many years, for many nations. Our teams in the nations are really interceding. And so Nigeria, God showing the burden, putting the burden and of Nigeria on us. We've spent a lot of time praying. But from that time, that Christmas, when He said, "I'm visiting the nations," we began to pray more earnestly, especially because in January of 2012, that's the next year, the next month, we were to do a leaders meeting as well as a youth meeting in Lagos. And the Lord had asked me to bring the message of the kingdom encapsulated in the Great Commission back to the leaders of the church in Nigeria. I was to deal, I'm reading this because in 2016, the Lord asked me to write all of this down and send it to someone in Nigeria. So I felt led to give what I had written to you when this recent crisis came. And I think that's why we're here. So I'm reading from what I wrote to this person. Yes. So He had asked me to bring the message of the Great Commission, encapsulated in the Great Commission, back to the leaders of the church in Nigeria. I was to deal with the kingdom of God on three levels of kingdom life and kingdom manifestation, namely the transformation of the individual believer to become Christ-like and live righteously. And then the church rediscovering who she is in Christ and functioning as a royal priesthood in the land. And then finally, the third level, the nation being won and discipled for Christ. This is the essence of the Great Commission. The Great Commission must end up in national transformation. If it doesn't do so, we have failed our assignment. So the Lord had given me a message, incidentally, for the youth of Nigeria. And so we had scheduled a separate meeting for the youth. And the theme of that meeting, that message for that meeting was break the mold.
Wow.
And in break the mold, the Lord was saying to the youth, break the mold of the older generation, the cultural mindset, the conduct, the behavior, the attitudes of the older generation, and that He would do a new thing through the youth. He said He had rejected the older generation and turned His attention to the next generation. And they are to turn to Christ as an example. This was the message I carried to Nigeria in 2012. As we prepared for that mission, I received a prophecy in the middle of the night. I was up praying, and a friend of mine, an American who lived in Malaysia, sent me a message that she had seen a vision of Leviathan. And she felt it had to do something to do with my mission to Africa. We were going to Kenya first before going to Nigeria. So I took this to God in prayer during the night. And the next day, when we woke up, I said to my husband, this is what my friend wrote to me, sent me an email, and I prayed about it. So we should pray. But as we began to pray, the spirit of worship, we began to worship. And in the midst of the worship, I heard the Lord speak. I heard it clearly. He said, there is a river in Kaduna. Now, when my friend sent me the message about Leviathan, I went through the scriptures to look at Leviathan, especially in the book of Job. And biblically, Leviathan, one of the representations of Leviathan is the crocodile. So, and I read all this through the night and then woke up in the morning. We were worshiping, my husband and I were worshiping. I heard the Lord say, there is a river in Kaduna. Now, I knew Kaduna was in Nigeria. I didn't know which part. I didn't know there was a river or anything, but thank God for Google. I Googled it. And When I checked, lo and behold, there is actually a river Kaduna, and God had my attention. And Kaduna actually means crocodile. I found out. You can check it. So
Wow.
I was very attentive to what God was saying. But his next words to me were from Isaiah 27, verse 1. He said, in that day, the Lord with his hard and strong sword will punish Leviathan, the fleeing serpent, Leviathan, the twisting serpent, and he will slay the dragon that is in the sea. The Lord began to explain to me that the source of Nigerians' problem, the source of the bloodshed, the source of the upheavals in the land of Nigeria was from Kaduna, from that river where people had sacrificed to the vicious spirit. I actually saw, like how the crocodile can grab hold of when you're watching wildlife, of another animal and is not, will not let go. I saw Nigeria hand in the mouth of that crocodile. And the Lord showed me that it's through the sacrifices that have gone on for power and wealth by individuals. Like I said, I didn't know anything about Kaduna. I didn't know anything about a river there. I didn't know. I heard it all in the spirit after my friend had sent me a message of what God had showed him. The Lord showed me that he was ready to deal with that power and to set Nigeria free. However, the church had become an obstacle in his way. That was what he said. Because the church is walking in the same unrighteousness as the people of the world.
Wow.
Hence the message of the kingdom for the church to return back to Christ Jesus, to return to righteousness, to return to the true gospel. And the mission, therefore, that he explained to me at that time was to get the church back on the right track. Once the church is on the right track, he will move through the church to deliver Nigeria. And I want to say this, that God's plan hasn't changed. God is still looking to raise a church. A church that is not corrupt. A church that knows Christ Jesus. A church that has died to the flesh. A church that is seeking the kingdom and its righteousness. God is still seeking that church. And through that church, God will redeem the land.
Amazing.
We arrived in Nigeria, but very few leaders attended the meeting. Actually, less than 20. Those who came did not come every day. We were told because we decided not to serve food. It wasn't that we didn't want to serve food. But the thing is, when we're doing these missions, the Lord provides. And what he provides, we use. And the Lord did not provide for food. We prayed, we tried to raise funds. The Lord said, don't serve food. So we didn't serve food, and the people did not turn up. We shared the message. We spent time praying. Actually, we did pray about that Kaduna thing. We prayed earnestly. And the Lord showed us as a sign, because the next day, there was a Boko Haram raid in Kaduna. The next morning, after we had spent time really praying into this. So we did have the youth meeting. Another thing that encouraged me is that I was told that I think a month before I came, another man had come from Cameroon with a message again to the youth that God was going, he gathered them and he spoke to them that God was going to use them. And he said to them, this is the last time you will hear me say this. This is the last time you will hear my voice. I was sent to you to tell you that God is going to use the youth in Nigeria to turn Nigeria around. When the man went back, he died. He died within, I think, a week or so. And so God had our attention. Unfortunately, nobody took ownership of the message of the kingdom that we took to Nigeria. I'm saying unfortunately because we've taken the same message to other countries. It's taken the same message to Uganda, and there is a revival going on in Uganda as I speak. We're taking it to Kenya. There is something happening to Kenya. Kenya is coming back to the kingdom message. I can tell you so many things that the leadership of the church in Nigeria, in Uganda, for instance, are doing to get the church back to the kingdom agenda. But in Nigeria, no one took ownership of it. I've tried for years to get somebody to do that. And I want to say this last bit because the Holy Spirit reminded me of it as I was preparing. I went again to Nigeria in 2013, the following year, to speak at a conference. And whilst there, the Lord asked me a question. He said, if you have a bucket of water, a bucket full of dirty water, and you want to replace it with clean water, but you can't pour the dirty water out, what do you do? And he answered the question himself. He said, you start pouring in the clean water. You start pouring in the clean, keep pouring in, and the clean will displace the dirty as you keep pouring until it gets to a time there's more clean water in it than the dirty water. He said, that is what I'm going to do with this land. Through the youth, I will begin to do a new thing. And he gave me a sign which I can never forget. I left my iPhone, and my iPhone dropped in the between the headboard and the mattress, and I didn't know it was there. I packed up and left the room.
Wow.
After we had finished everything, we were having our last meal, and this young man, a youth of Nigeria, brought my iPhone to me, that you left your iPhone. And the Lord said to me, I let this happen to show you that I'm going to raise a righteous youth. He didn't take your iPhone to you.
Wow.
So I believe that God is still seeking to do these things in the land.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Mom. I appreciate that. You see, excuse me. I know sometimes a lot of our people, we complain that Nigeria problems we have is we are religious. Nigeria is very religious, but it does not necessarily mean that we are very godly. This is what has been shared right now. I am telling you that you should take this excuse me, and run with it. We should take this as a people, as local churches, people of God, and run with it. I don't want to wait. I do not want to spend more time talking about the things that I have seen, not just being told, but seen with my naked eyes when it comes to the diabolical that do in Nigeria to retain power, to stay in power. And like I said at the beginning, if we ignore the spiritual side of things, we will be fighting the wind and we will not get anywhere. And it's incredible because I remember a few months ago, I saw the video that Prophet Tomi Arayemi shared about word, one of the words the Lord gave him concerning Nigeria, and was regarding the youth. So it was actually about a year or two ago that I saw the video. He went to Nigeria and he ministered there and shared the word. And it is true. Went back to the month of October, the protest, it was organized, led, and run by the youth, the young people. So if we're really passionate about the need, we must definitely ensure that we're fighting right. We're aligning with what God says. We're aligning with the intention and the purpose of God. So I want to say this again as we move on. Please come back to what it is and run with it. Run with it as a leader, a minister, and as an individual. It takes a person to build, it takes people rather to build a nation. Now, I want to go Dr. Henry. I want to go Dr. Henry. Nigeria and Nigerian leadership. Personally, I feel there is a whole lot that can be said about leadership in Nigeria. I've never seen, especially in like, I've never seen people who seem to just lack empathy. They just don't care. They just don't care. And the issue from what we can see and what we can gather is not lack of resources. You've been a leader. One of the things I know that you've led, not just now, you've led even in your university days. You've led a ministry, and not literally for years. You've been a leader. You've been in leadership. I was kind of crack the ball, Dr. Henry. What have you got to say about leadership in Nigeria? Let's just start it like that. Let's take it from there.
Okay. Thank you for that question.
You're welcome.
I think it's obvious that for a long time, Nigeria has been plagued by group of one bad leader after another, not just one, several bad leaders, because I'm talking about leadership across all spectrum. And it's very difficult to pinpoint examples of outstanding leaders in Nigeria. But I think at the core of the problem of leadership in Nigeria is the lack of value for human life. Leaders have to have the heart for the people that they lead. Unfortunately, the kind of leadership we've had is one that is so disconnected from its followers because there isn't any value placed on the people that are being led. As a matter of fact, it's more about exploiting the people that are being led. It's more about what the leaders can accumulate for themselves at the expense of those that are being led. Like you said, there's an enormous amount of resources in the country that even for the greedy, they could have as much as they want, but still have enough to be able to do a good job. But when you have leaders that just don't care and don't value human life, that's how leadership can be comfortable in the midst of mass slaughter, the problem of insecurity. That's why leadership can be comfortable with people dying in their hundreds through road traffic accidents regularly. That's why leaders can be comfortable with giving the instruction for their citizens to be shot at just because they are leading a protest to demand what is rightfully theirs. So there is a disconnect, a huge disconnect. However, I believe very much that everything rises and falls on leadership. Leaders must initiate change. However, I also want to talk to the followership here. That these leaders are not imported from elsewhere. These leaders come from amongst us. And there's a reason that they can perpetuate themselves in power. I appreciate the spiritual angle shared by Apostle Abigail. But another reason why they can perpetuate themselves in power is that the value system that drives them also finds expression within the community.
Come on now.
Within the society as a whole. Because you just need to have an experience with other people, an ordinary citizen, where they seem to have a little bit of power over you, or where you are dependent on them for something, and you will see how you will be treated. A very good example, not very long ago, at the beginning of COVID, when there was still the question as to whether chloroquine could be used to treat COVID. And some people still believe that it can still, and the experience I hear from people on ground in Nigeria is that they still use it. But what happened as soon as we heard that chloroquine could be used to treat COVID? What happened? The price of chloroquine went astronomically. It became a profit-making venture. Now, that's not the leadership that did that. It's fellow citizens that did that to each other. The chemist where you could buy chloroquine for peanuts yesterday, you go there today, you can't buy it anymore because suddenly the owner of the chemist realizes it's important for saving life. Now, compare and contrast that with when the 3-pin seatbelt was invented. the manufacturers did not take a patent on that product because they felt that it was too important to saving life than for them to profit from it. So they made it available to other car manufacturers almost as soon as they made it because it was there for saving lives. So we can talk about our leaders, but they arise from amongst us. They are just practicing the value system that operates in our society as a whole at a much higher level because they are leaders. Or it is a societal problem that means that they can continue to perpetuate themselves in power. So the problem of leadership in Nigeria is a huge one. But if we want to start fixing it, we need to go back and look at our value systems as a society as a whole. And that was sort of what drove me to write a book on that, because I feel that value system is very core.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to go to Councillor Shijo Adeoye at the moment. You're a councillor with the Labour Party, and you basically you're involved in the politics in the United Kingdom, and you're exposed to different aspect of governance compared to where you're coming from, different aspect of leadership compared to where we're coming from. Whether we like it or not, the United Kingdom, one thing that every one of us we tend to say is, when it comes to structures, when it comes to systems, this country works compared to where we're coming from. And the issue is not have people who don't have the mind, who don't have the intelligence. Is not that it lacks the resources. Now, if somebody can build an estate of 500 naira, if somebody can import, expensive windows and doors, and I've heard about people buy entertainment gadgets worth almost $100,000 to put in their house. That tells you that the country necessarily broke. That tells you that we're not necessarily, that tells you we don't, it's not that we don't have the resources. But what have you noticed in comparison to this country, where the system compared to where coming from, where to fast and pray for everything? Over to you.
Thank you so much. I missed some bits of your question because the reception wasn't quite clear for me to hear.
Okay. Is he cracking out? Because it is cracking. Okay, I'm trying to figure out.
But I picked up one or two things you were asking with regards to how the things got so bad. You've got to remember that I was sharing the GDP, so that's the gross domestic product. So with gross domestic product, what happens is that every country has its resources, what they export or their income as a country. And they now divide the income per person in the country. And as I've explained before, we had the highest during 2014 and 2015, but everything went downhill again, because we probably thought we were in a prosperity situation, and we have leadership that thought they could help themselves, that if the economy of Nigeria was booming. And I do believe at that time, we were told that Nigeria was one of the fastest growing economy of that time, if not the seventh in the world as of that time, when things were booming, the resources were there and everything. But people thought it was a good idea to loot the system. So you have, I wouldn't name names, but we have ministers, government officials that were looting, as in, it's like you have to have, each officials have oil rigs, they have their own, not just one, not just two, where they're even exporting their own, oil and gas out of the country, and they were financing, and in the meantime, the people were suffering. But then that's why we cried out that, okay, we want a change of government. So it's not today that we've been crying for change of government or we want a change.
Mm.
We've been crying ever since, right from when I left Nigeria in the 80s. We've been crying ever since. But what's different? It seems as if it is getting worse each administration after administration. But
Yep.
then you talk about, it's not as if we don't have the competence or we don't
Yep.
have the leadership in Nigeria, because I can name names again of good
Mhm.
leaders
Yep.
in Nigeria,
Yep.
but where are they? Why are
Gotcha.
they not at the helm of government governing the citizens? So that's a
Mm.
whole lot of issue to debate about, because they will never get into power, because they're not positioned in the path of power. So that's
Mm.
one, because these people who govern Nigeria, they have so
Yep.
much set up the constitution, they have so much set up the system that the power will be recycled amongst them. And I
Mm.
was sharing this at another platform, that even if you cry out that you want youth to lead you, they will recycle their own youth, their own homegrown youth
Yeah.
that are just as corrupt, as just as bad as them to lead and to
Mm.
satisfy you. Yeah, you cried for youth. There you go.
Mm.
There's your youth. You know. And then coming back to the citizens, the problem I have, I'm sorry, I appreciate the role of religion. I appreciate the role of faith. I think the role of faith and the role of religion has also crippled the nation,
Yeah,
because
listen,
what we have,
let me just say this
no,
1 second. I'm not kidding you. There is a need for us to talk about the impact of the church, the
because
decadence of the
because
nation.
what
Over
the
to
world
you.
of religion has done, whilst we need to
Mm.
pray, whilst we need to fast, while we need to practice our faith and the rest of it. After all, they're practicing faith in other parts of the world, and other parts of the world are thriving economically in all spheres of their society. But I think the problem with that I find, or I've come to realize with Nigeria, is that the role of faith has boomed in Nigeria, because everybody saw that as an avenue to make money, because people are hungry. People saw that as making money. So religion in Nigeria is a money making business. Prosperity gospel have now really killed the system, dried it to skeleton, in terms of, they will extort the poor. It's that bad that, extortion is taking place, promising false hope, for false faith, false miracle,
Yep.
some things that is not instantaneous. They promise you that, you get instant miracle for this, and people go to length
Mm.
of, I mean, there's some diabolical videos that I've seen on social media, that really, how do people actually get on and get
Mm.
away with this? This is broad daylight robbery, as a result
Mm.
of religion. That's one side. Another side is, people have become lazy. This so-called
Mm.
spirituality, they've become lazy, that they think everything is quick
Yeah.
fix with prayer. Everything is quick fix,
That's it.
with their faith. I just have to name it, claim it, receive it, reaction. All that has killed the people, the thinking, the process, the mentality, that, if you don't have your answers right there, that is it. So the people
Mm.
are, and again, they're played into that mindset of the people, because they are hungry, they're in dear
Mm-hmm.
need, and it continues to impoverish the society. So we need to break that
Mm.
cycle. And it's all due to a cycle of poverty, to be quite honest with you. We see
Yeah.
true leaders doing babalawo. Sorry, that's traditional traditional stuff. Practices and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I'm not condemning. Well, I'm not here to condemn. What
Mm.
your take is, or where your faith lies, or whatever have you. What I'm here to condemn is that when you are not able to emancipate yourself,
or where you've allowed people to hold you in bondage and you're not able to set yourself free. So just as bad, just as governments are bad, so are the religious leaders. You know, we have to hold them responsible. We have to hold them to account that they have crippled that nation. And you know, if your preaching does not emancipate the people, does not set the people free, does not give people liberty or bring light to people, then there's something wrong with the gospel that you're preaching, or well, we have prosperity gospel anyway, but there's something definitely wrong with what you're preaching or what you're teaching the people, because it has to emancipate the people. It has to set the people free, and we're not having that or experiencing that in Nigeria.
Can I respond to that?
Absolutely. I'm going to let you come in now, Apostle. I think it's necessary for us to crack the issue of the nation and how the church, Nigerian church, has contributed to the state of the nation. It's extremely important.
It's not just church.
So,
It's not just your church. It's your mosques. It's your mosque. It's your. I'm talking about the religious leaders across board, even the tribalists, those traditional. There's a whole host of them. So I'm grouping them. I'm generalizing now, because it's not just one particular group of faith. There's a whole host of them that have put people in bondage, and these people need to be set free as well.
Over to you. Thank you so much for that.
The issue of religion, and I will never put Christianity together in a bundle of religion, because Christianity is a different thing altogether. It is a relationship with a man called Jesus Christ. What many people fail to realize, we come to the West, we see the West for what the West is. We see Britain for what Britain is. We see the integrity of the Englishman, but we don't realize that the source of that is the church. You can research it, you can read, you can Google it. The church, it was the church that influenced the people to live righteously. It was the church transformed the nation to the extent that the English language has many words in the English language that came straight from the Bible. At the 400th anniversary of the King James Bible, a book was produced, how the Bible influenced the language of the people. And I bought copies. I bought many copies. That it influenced even the language of the people to an extent that there are many words now. And that book contains words that are part of the English language, which we use every day, which came directly from the Bible. They learned to walk righteously because the church led them in the way of righteousness. Now, when you come to Nigeria, if you heard what I said that God said that the church, so-called church in Nigeria now, is an obstacle to what he wants to do in the nation. The Bible tells us in James chapter 1, verse 27, that true religion, undefiled from God's perspective, is to visit orphans and widows in trouble, and to keep oneself unspotted from the world. The religion that Jesus Christ came to give is not what is happening in Nigeria. Because that one is liberating, like you're saying, is emancipating. It empowers you, it raises, if you walk in the word, if the church in Nigeria was teaching people to know truth, to walk in truth, to walk in righteousness, instead of proclaiming, like you're saying, prosperity, all of that is not the church. And that was part of what the Lord had asked me to go to the church with this reality, that you need to come back to the gospel. You need to come back. That's why I said from the individual level, to walk. One of the key scriptures I spoke from was from Psalm 24. It says, who will ascend to the hill of the Lord? Who can come before God? He who has clean hands, a pure heart, does not take bribes, does not do this, does not do this. The Christian life must become a practical lifestyle of righteousness. And that is what the church in Nigeria need to get to. So yes, in a way, you're right about religion. And most of the time when people talk about religion in Nigeria, it's the church they're referring to. It's gone, it's gone, yeah. But God, if the youth, I don't know if it was who mentioned it, but said something about changing values. The Lord had asked to take to the youth, break the mold, weigh your values. What are your value system? What is molding the value system? Is it the world? Is it the environment or the word of God? Because the word of God leads you to righteousness. That's what I challenge the youth with. And if you will now assess and value you will put your value systems on a scale. What is molding your value systems? What is shaping? We did group discussions, and one of the youth said something. He said, when a Nigerian man gets a new post, his first thought is, how am I going to milk the system? How am I going to get? That didn't come from religion. It's a cultural thing. It's a cultural thing, but it's within the church. And so there's no light within the church to lead the people out. For me personally, as a Christian and as a Christian minister, that is my heart's desire, that the church shall become the light, shall lead people to that. But what you described as the church is biblically wrong. It is not the church. True religion takes care of the poor. The system, the social welfare system in this country came as a result of the church. The entire social welfare system, the NHS, came as a result of the church. A lot of things that are happening in this country, which is right, came because the church was light in this land. If the church becomes light in Nigeria, we will see the same thing. I'm saying it because we're seeing it happen in other countries. We're seeing it happen in Uganda. The bishop who took the message I took, his name is Bishop Joshua Riley. You can Google it. He went to write to the president and he said, we are going to redisciple Ugandan parliamentarians. He takes them away on retreat. It doesn't matter your religion. He's saying there are principles by which you must govern, and we have to teach you. As I'm talking now, he's moving across Uganda concerning the COVID and concerning the coming election. And we are seeing change.
Wow.
Can I just add to that very briefly? I
Absolutely. Go
with Apostle Abigail on that oftentimes when we think UK today, we only see the immediate society that looks like a very liberal society, and people are challenging the notion of whether the United Kingdom is a Christian nation or not. And the likes of David Cameron have had to insist that we're a Christian nation. It's absolute. All the values, the principles we live by, the system that has been built on values directly taken from the pages of the scriptures. And that's what we're living today. Apostle Abigail gave an example of get a Nigerian in power, and the first notion is to milk the system. Where does that come from? And I use this example again in my book. How do we refer to our commonwealth in Nigeria? And I realize it's now not just Nigeria, because I interviewed a few other Africans in Zimbabwe and in other parts of Africa. They also use this notion. We call our commonwealth national cake. That's what we call it. Here in the UK, how do we describe our commonwealth? We call it public funds. And those two descriptions or appellations for our commonwealth tell you the value systems that drive. So if it is a national cake, the message you're passing is that I ought to get a piece of it because it's a cake and it belongs to us all. And that's what people go into power for, to go and get a slice of the national cake. But come into power here and you hear the notion public funds. Straight away, it tells you that the money is not for you, it's for the public who put you there. And it drives a completely different value system. And that's why this is part of the things I'm saying. The reason the politician can feel comfortable to be able to launder the funds is because there is a system in place that sort of gives the approval of the citizens. By that apathy and that thinking that you can't blame them. If I were in their situation, I would do the same thing. All we are really saying is that they shouldn't eat it all. That's the mindset we have. So we expect them to embezzle the funds, but not use it all because it's a national thing. So we need to get back to dealing with all this mindset, because that's really what puts us there. And I absolutely agree that the youth must break them, because this bug has also infected our young people. We have all of those. The problem with the church in Nigeria today is that, unfortunately, corruption has reached the church too, because of the value system. Because of the value system. If it needs to change, and the church has to take a lead in this by going back to rediscover the gospel, like we said, you cannot be all out there to just make yourself rich at the expense of the poor in the society. That's not true religion. So these are the things we need to redefine. The church is as guilty as the politicians in Nigeria today, but let's not, because of what the church is representing today, forget what true Christianity stands for, what true religion is all about, because ultimately those values over time, not just the United Kingdom, are the values upon which societies that thrive are built. And they are still the same values we have to rediscover as a nation.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that, Doc. And I want to say a massive thank you to you, Counselor, and before I go on, I just want to chip in a little bit about this value system, the mentalities that are very, very. One of the things I've noticed is, as a Nigerian, you grow to a point and people just expect you to have money that to have access to money that to have access to a limited amount of money, to the point where once you get a job or abroad, they tell you, we don't have to pick to just send money to them. Some of them will even get upset with you. I keep hearing that I'm breaking, and I don't know. Every other person is sounding, what is going on?
Breaking in that.
Okay, is it better now? Kindly let me know better now.
No.
What's going on? Is it better now?
No.
Okay, so they're trying to get me to give him a dirty slap right now. Why am I breaking? Is it better now? How is it? Please let me know. Is it better?
A bit.
Okay, Lord have mercy. Okay, Lord, I just pray that whatever is wrong with this thing, you will help me deal with it right now. I don't know what it is, but you know all things, and I trust you. Thank you, Jesus. In Jesus' name. Now, I was saying that, we know we have this mindset back home where the moment someone loves God, is it still better? Is it better now? Someone is still telling me that it's cracking. The moment you travel abroad, it's just expected of you to have access to unlimited amount of money. Once you're working or something, you're just expected to have unlimited amount of access to money. And if you're not giving them money like they want it, get to look at the and so and so. How come you are in England or you are abroad, you are not doing this? And this many people to prison. This has driven many people to put in their hand and their hands to things that they shouldn't deal their hands into. Like you rightly said, Doctor, we call public funds it's okay. That whatever it is, once you get there, you must hit. Now I want to take it a little bit further now and talk about the process of power, the process of actually coming to the position and place of governance. Please let me know if something better now, if he's not cracking anymore, please. to be sure I'm sounding. I'm good on my side.
It's cracking.
It's still cracking.
Yeah.
Am I sounding better? Let me know. Is it better now?
Maybe we should mute all our mics. It might cause the interference. If we mute all our mics, it might help.
Okay. Let me see. Okay, please let me know if I'm sounding better now. Does it sound better now? Is it still cracking? Fine. Okay. I need to check the microphone. All right, thank you very much. I'm sounding better now. So yeah, now we want to look at the process of power. The process. We tend to be very passionate. We want a new government. We want the youth to take over. The prophecy has gone for, it's a time for the youth to take over and to come into power. But how ready are the youth themselves, to take over power? When it comes to coming into the place or coming into the position of place of authority, where we begin to lead. How do we go about it? How does it work? And that's something that I want us to touch on. And I'm going to take this quickly to Councillor Shijwe to help us crack on. When you look 2 years ago when we had a presidential election, can you hear me? Am I clear? We had the likes of. So can you hear me now? Is it better now? Or is it still working? Please let me know if you can hear me. Oh. Okay. 1 second, please. Let me see. Sorry, everyone. Just bear with me. Trying to sort this out. Let me see what is going on. Okay, Lord, please let me know if you can hear me. And
I think it's dropped out. Councillor, I believe he was asking about what is sort of the process it takes for youth to get into political leadership. Maybe you would want to start on that whilst we're waiting for him to come back.
I didn't hear. Can you hear me? I didn't hear what you said at all.
Oh, you couldn't. Okay. I said I believe.
It's better now. It's better now.
Okay. I believe he was asking about, we say we want youth to assume power to get into leadership. There's a process that is involved. What can the young people start doing now in order to be able to assume leadership at the right time?
Okay, thank you for the question, relaying the question. In what happens here is almost identical to what happens in Nigeria. If you want to run for election, you have to either you join a political party or you stand as an independent candidate. But ideally, you join a political party so that you have a better leverage to prepare you to where you want to go. But then, if we take a look at the 2019 election that took place in Nigeria, 91 political parties ran in that election. 91. So that says a lot. And out of that 91, there were about 3 or 4, if I'm correct, that were relating to youth or young people's party. Even with that, they didn't win the election in 2019. We had the likes of Showore, who relatively had a youth following, huge youth following, and really, had a lot of impact. He was arrested for treason and all sort of issues, but he really gained momentum with young people. He ran for presidency under his own party. He came 10th place. We had another candidate who also had a huge youth following, and ran not just for the youth, but ran generally. That was Fela Durotoye. I think he came, I can't remember what position I think he came 20, I can't remember. Don't quote me on that one. It might be 25th place or thereabout that his position was. So we realized that Nigeria run from that election, and for a very long time, Nigeria run on a two political party system. You either APC or PDP. And if I'm correct, if my memory serves me right with data, I think APC won 19 states, whilst PDP won 18 states. So that tells you, if it was, in fact, it was close, and that tells you a lot that it's a two-party political system, almost like UK. Here in the UK, the battle really is between the Tories and Labour Party, and Lib Dem far and not far and in between, somewhere, and the Green Party and the rest of it. But we know that in any country, even in America, you have the Democrats and the Republicans. So I think you see that across the world, that usually in most countries is a two political party system. So my question, or my analysis would be then, should then young people be running in their own parties or running as independent? I already said we had 91 political parties that stood in the election, and all those 91 didn't get far. In fact, we had a gentleman from the UK who owns the Ben Television, I believe. He also ran in that election. He came further, he came further. He left here and went to Nigeria to run. So we've had that over the years where people will pack their bags. I remember one time the American billionaire who blew all his money, in Nigerian election, hoping that he can also win. He's Nigerian descent, but he lives in America. I think his name, I can't remember. Akonde, that's his name. He ran, and yeah, he didn't get far. So my advice to the youth then is that why not join this so-called PDP or APC? Now, you have the arguments for and the arguments against that. You want to now go and join the bank gang and they will corrupt you, this and that. But until good people start to infiltrate these political parties and change it from the roots up, we will not have the change that we so desire. This is the thing. Here's the thing. No young person I've seen so far wants to start from the bottom. or start from with grassroots. So far, I've not seen that young person come out and say, it's very far-fetched at the moment. But until they start joining this political part, because there's no quick fix a solution to this. If you want to take power, you cannot take power from the outside. You have to take power from the inside. And if you're not part of the system, how can you affect the change? So what I would employ the young people is that they need to start, as many as they are. If they would outnumber those ones in APC already, the membership in APC is already, or the membership in PDP, until they start doing that and start running for not just a presidential seat, but there are local government seats there, that needs to be, they need to gain experience as well, that they need to occupy local government chairmen, councillors, governors, they need to occupy all those seats as well until we begin to see the change. So they've left it, unfortunately, because nobody wants to get involved in politics, because politics is a dirty game, blah, blah, blah. But until they start getting involved, getting their hand, running for actual campaign, I'm sorry, we won't see the change that we so desire. And I was really gutted for the likes of Showore, and I was gutted for the likes of Durotoye, who actually fought a good fight. Those two guys really, fought a good fight. In fact, if Durotoye most especially, he actually went out. Maybe he didn't campaign long enough, but he actually tried to go out to almost every city, every state to campaign. He chose a woman as his vice president, from a different religion expression to him altogether. And he would probably, he had more appeal, but he didn't even get to the 10th place. So until we really need to look into this and really, really break it down, there's no quick fix. So this is where my issue, because, our religious leaders have told us that it's quick fix. You just have to name it and claim it, but nobody wants to go through the process. There's also a process. If we look at the Bible, that is the guidance for this ones. Moses, when Moses was when he was called into leadership, to when he actually led the people, the year gap between them. Even Jesus Christ, when he was fasting in the temple, was at the age of 12. He didn't actually manifest his ministry until he was 30. For only 3 years ministry, because he died at the age of 33. Only for 3 years ministry. So there's a time that there's a process which our young people seem to be ignoring, that if they so desire this power, they need to start now. They need to start engaging in civil matters. I didn't just arrive in politics overnight, although some people may argue that I did, because of the time I joined the political party, but I have been doing community activism a very, very long time. I wasn't just affiliated to a particular political party, but I have been doing the activism for a very long time, over a decade. I didn't suddenly just arrive in the scene, but it's preparation, meeting, the meeting that position at that right time, if you understand what I'm trying to say. But those are the nuances that young people really need to look at if they're looking to take on leadership of Nigeria. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you very much. And I hope I'm sounding more now. Please let me know. Am I sounding good? Just want to know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's improved.
Okay, wow. Okay. All right. Now, one of the things I want us to touch on, because we're getting close to wrapping it up, to the issue of bribing. You made mention of something. What a lot of people, and even the young generation, say, "Oh, we don't It's still breaking up. Wow, what is going on? What is going on?
Hmm.
Okay, sorry everyone. This is unbelievable. Is it sounding better now?
I think it sounds better when you're closer to the mic, I think.
Okay, it's better now.
Yeah,
Lord have mercy. This is unbelievable.
That's okay.
Is it better?
Yeah.
Much better? Not breaking up?
Yeah, much better.
All right, brilliant. Thank you very much. So now, like you said, Counselor, that one of the things that a lot of people say, the platform on which, or the reason why they go ahead to create their own party, is that they don't want to be part of the ones who are corrupt, the ones who are the bad eggs and all that. Now, one of that, and you said something which is very profound. You cannot influence what you don't relate with. You cannot take power from the outside. You have to take it from the inside. Now, what do you do in a situation where you get into the system to affect the system with the goodness, with the rightness that it is lacking? However, the system is designed for you to, by default, do certain things. One of the things I have been made realize is somebody got a job with the presidency in Nigeria, and before the person started the job or even carried out their responsibilities, they were told so amount of millions is already credited to your account. And he asked a question. He said, "For what?" They said, "That is how it works." So basically, later realize that you are given this amount of money because of what they will possibly do through you later on, the corruption they're going to perpetuate through your office. So whether you like it or not, you've been sent that money. The money is yours. You can't reject it. If you reject it, you become a threat. In this kind of situation, as somebody who has a heart to do right, to not go into corruption and all that, how do you handle this sort of situation? And I want to take this question to Dr. Emery. What do you do? Find yourself in this situation?
I was hoping the counselor would answer that one. Yeah. I agree, and I think the counselor eloquently put it. The principle I've always believed in is the principle of the yeast. How the yeast, as small as it is, can change a whole day. But first is to remember that small is not insignificant. That small is not insignificant. The other bit is that you need to be in the system to change the system. The yeast does not change the dough from outside, it works from inside.
Yes, sir.
The third bit is to remember that it's little by little. Little by little, it takes over the whole thing at the end. Small changes that may not be easily noticeable, but by the time it's noticed, the whole system is infiltrated. I think the wisdom here is find people like yourself. Don't go into the system alone. Find other people like you. Like the very good example that Counselor gave is that you want to be president of Nigeria. Whilst I like the fight of Showore and Fela, I was not surprised by the result because I just didn't see them coming out in the time they did and were going to become president. They needed to have started at the grassroots, mobilize people, all those parties. How many other candidates did they fill for other positions? It's not going to. So even if you become president and you are ruling over APC and PDP governors and senators and all that, you are just going to be frustrated. Find other people like you and form like a bond, a mass that you're going in together at those smaller levels. Start small, have a long-term strategy, not a short one. Now, I think for me, where I take solace is that the likes of Daniel proved to us that
Yes,
it's
sir.
possible to still be in government righteously. And this is where you
Wow.
need wisdom in that sense. So,
Yes,
for
sir.
example, you're saying the money has been put in your account, you can't return it. Maybe you don't even have an account to return it to. I would basically say to them that, well, I wasn't expecting this, I haven't earned this. If I'm going to use that money at all, I can make it very obvious that I'm going to just donate it to charity so that they know
Wow.
that I don't spend it. So that way they are not offended that I return the money to them, but equally they know that I'm not going to use that kind of money for myself. And I'll be very
Come on now.
transparent about it.
Come
But
on now.
over time, I think it will begin to become more obvious to them that if you give me this sort of money, I'm not going to use it for
Yes, sir.
myself. And you start to operate some level of transparency that others can see. So maybe, for example, our politicians hardly ever declare their assets when they get into power. Make that your own principle. Declare your assets so that whatever else you get, you can make it very obvious, transparently how you get it. So I think the thing is to not come with how will I call it? With an open announcement that you are the change agent, you are here to kick out all the corrupt guys, but at the
Come
same
on
time,
now.
the way you're doing your work and mobilizing with those around you, you're gradually bringing those godly principles into
Come
place.
on now.
And people can see it, especially if you're making a difference. So that when it's time for you to move to the next level, your work speaks for you and the people that follow you.
Wow.
So it's that sort of wisdom that people need. If you go openly, you're just going
Yes,
to
sir.
declare yourself as an enemy and they're going to wipe you out. But it's the gradual
Amazing.
wisdom
Yeah,
of being transparent at
that's
the
true.
same time not being defiant or openly in opposition, but you're making those change in such a way that it's accepted. Because if you're doing well as under the president, who
Yes,
gets
sir.
the glory? The president gets the glory. And the president wants to keep you because he knows what you're bringing to his government. But he's not going to be there
That's
forever.
true.
Over time, you will have the opportunity to run for yourself.
Sure.
So I think it's that sort of wisdom that will be needed.
Amazing. Now we're getting close to the end of this roundtable today, and there is something that I've noticed which is very prevalent with a lot of Nigerians home and abroad. A lot of Nigerians are tired of wanting a change. Even with the mass protest we saw in the month of October, there's still a whole lot of Nigerians who are very tired. They've tried, they've possibly thought, you know what, they've seen things. They see things every day. You go to the airport, if you don't bribe, they won't allow you to take your own bag. The luggage you've paid for, you get to the airport, they will be telling you your passport does not look original. You don't look like that. You know, all sort of things. All sort of things. You want to get a passport from the Nigerian Home Office in the United Kingdom, and it is a battle. If it's that you have to bribe almost everyone for you to get what you deserve as a citizen. So this, to a great extent, has brought a lot of Nigerians to a place of psychological tiredness. I remember that in the month of July, the Lord laid it on my heart for us to have a 3-day prayer chain for Nigeria. And I just noticed that a lot of Nigerians couldn't be bothered. In a lot of them, I saw many of them saying, look, we've been praying, what has happened? We've been praying, we've been doing this, what has happened? We've protested and all. And so there is this sense of tiredness. Like, look, this problem is so enormous, it can't be dealt with. It's not good. We can't see any way around it. As we round off, what do we say, or what can we do to address this sense of tiredness about the necessary change we need to see in Nigeria? And I'm going to take this to Councillor quickly.
I was just going to say that one thing that people forget is that this was just a protest. Again, we had mentioned in terms of what we are doing, and I don't know what has caused us to be in that dissolution, or because it's just a protest. When you want to change, change is a process, you know. So if I was to use a ladder, for instance, and there's 10 steps on the ladder, the protest that took place is just one out of 10 steps. But people thought just because they protested, change must happen and that's it. We saw protests here in the United Kingdom on various social issues, left, right, and
Yeah.
center. Did we see the change just like that? Or let's take the most recent one, the Black Lives Matter that happened this year that went global. I took part in that in my own local community, but I realized that it's just one step out of 10 that I need to take. Where do we go from here after the protest? This is the questions that Nigerians need to be asking, to be having discussions about, which is two, step two that we're doing right now. So thank you for such a platform to hold this conversation, having this conversation. Out of these
Thank you too.
deliberations, now come action points. That okay, what action
Yeah.
points are we going to table? And I've seen a couple. I must give credit. I've seen couples where they said this is the 5 point action that we're demanding of the government and holding government to account. Fair enough. They're promising. Whether or not they deliver is another matter. So that's probably step two, step three. Because here where we have the Black Lives Matter, we had to have an action point in my council where I said, you know what do we want out of these protests? We want a review of street names and monuments that represent slavery. Um, we want Black history to be taught in schools. We had to present a motion in the council so that we want to see that change happen, so that the protest we did is not in vain. So you have to take a protest to the next step. Whilst good people were praying in the background, but once you pray, action must follow. And the good book tells us that faith without works is dead. So until you step out there, do the work, and people to begin to join political parties. Start now. Join a political party. If you don't want, then create your own. I don't know how far you go if you create your own or if you stand independent. But if we have that number of youths that came out to protest, if those number of youths bombard APC or bombard PDP, you will see that the same president will be different. Sorry, the president will be different come 2023. Join the parties, and carry the message to people out there that we are not buying votes anymore. We are outlawing buying votes. There's that whole issue as well. We need the same drive, the same campaign, and there has to be an education. That's why I'm wearing this T-shirt. They're saying we need to unlearn, we need to relearn, and we need to learn. We have to unlearn a whole lot of things. We need to relearn a whole lot of things, and it's not just one year cycle, 2 year cycle. It's a continuous process. But if you're dedicated to the cause, you will see the fruits of your labor. But until we start putting our hands to the plow, we won't see that change. And this is what I will encourage any youth. It's not about the shouting and the talking or getting clouds or more social media following and the rest of it. Maybe that will sell your market for your entrepreneurship that you're doing. It's beyond that. It's if you're serious about political activism, if you're serious about this campaign work that you're doing, yeah, let me see you join a party or let me see you start a party. Either way, do something. Start educating yourself. Start getting politically literate about what is going on. Understand the Constitution, for instance, the 1999 Constitution. Start to understand it. Start to know what the legislation or the systems that run Nigeria, the structure, how the structure come about, how it's in place, who makes what law, and the rest of it. And then you begin to see that until they start engaging we won't see the
Mm.
change, unfortunately.
Lovely. Thank you very much for that. I'm gonna go to Apostle please cheap in on that as well.
I think that from everything that I've listened and heard, what the Lord told me is true. That when you have a bucket of dirty water and you want to change the contents, meanwhile, you cannot pour it out, you start pouring in the clean water. And that is the situation. And it takes time, like we have been told. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes strategizing for that.
Yeah, yeah.
One thing we need to know is this, and that is where I see a problem. You cannot separate who you are from what you do.
Hey,
You cannot separate that. So people do go
wow.
into politics and they go with the same mindset. It is who they are that they act that out. I can give you an example of a friend of mine, our close friends who lived here with us in the UK. And he was sourced by one of the Arab oil companies to go and work in Ghana. So he relocated to Ghana. This man is a serious Christian, a Bible reading, Bible believing, praying Christian. When his first month there, he told us this story that every month, at the end of the month, they have to submit a document to Saudi Arabia. But the document has to be signed by the ministry, the ministry of one ministry in Ghana. So
Yeah.
he handed the document to his secretary to take it, and his secretary stood in front of him and said, "Can you, sir? We have to give them money." He said, "What for?" He said, "Well, if you don't bribe them, they don't do it." And he said to his secretary, "I'm not going to give them anything. They paid to do it. Take it to them." He said, "Sir, they won't do it." He said, "They will do it. I'm going to pray because I'm doing the right thing." By this time, his boss, who is an Englishman, had come in. He started laughing. He said, "You're going to do what? You're going to pray that they do the right thing." Well, lo and behold, the next day they brought the document signed, because he stood for righteousness. He was one in, and he said, "I cannot separate who I am from what I do. I can't do."
Come
And
on
so
now.
the issue we have is raising Nigerians who are trustworthy, Nigerians who
That's
have
true.
integrity, Nigerians who,
Wow.
and then we put them in in government, and this starts from the youth. Do you get me? Transformation does not come but by the renewal of the mind. It's in the Bible, Romans 12. It says
Yeah.
that don't conform to the world, be transformed by the renewing of the
By the
mind.
renewal
And
of
the
your mind.
question I ask each nation I go to, because I believe that the spiritual has an impact on what we do. If we address it from both angles,
Absolutely.
then the candle from both angles, we will get the result. But who is
Yeah.
having dialogue with the youth? Because at this time, somebody
That's true.
should be having dialogue with the youth. I give an
Come on
example.
now. Come on
I
now.
organized a youth meeting based on the same thing in Uganda, break the mold. That was in 2010, break the mold. And as part of the conference, we looked at goals. What are your goals in life? We were shocked. We were shocked at what these people said. One said, "I want to be a TV evangelist." One said, I want to be the richest man in the village that everybody bows to." One said, "I want to have 12
Wow.
wives." I mean, we were amazed. And I called the
Wow.
leadership of the church. I presented it to them. I said, "This is the next generation. Your country has the biggest percentage of youth because of HIV. Uganda has the highest percentage of
Wow.
young people in the world. And none of them is desiring to
Wow.
be a teacher. None of them is desiring to
Wow.
be a doctor. None of them is desiring to be an administrator. None of them, you need to be having dialogue with the youth. And you need to be discipling and educating the youth and changing their mindset, because they are being discipled by the counselor said, by the TV evangelists who are telling them, hey, snap your finger, abracadabra, you get it. It doesn't work that way. So there is the need to have that dialogue with the youth. And it doesn't matter starting small, but getting the young people to look at their values. What are your values for life? Where are you going? How do you see yourself as a human being? And how do you see? And so as they do it here, right from the beginning. Even in those who rule this land, most of them are from Eton, Cambridge, etc., etc. They put a sense of value in that. So for me, this is what I'm saying, that there's a time now to start having dialogue with the youth. People are fed up. People don't want to do. That is okay. We forget that Nigeria has a unique situation where there is no love for country. And there's no love for country because Nigeria was forced together. Different nations and kingdoms brought together by force. And so there is no corporate love for Nigeria. That's true. It's time to re-educate the youth. It's time to redefine the identity of the young people and get them to have a sense of pride in the nation. So that when now is more of who they are becoming or what they're going to do, because you can't separate who you are from what you do. That is my take on it.
Thank you so much for that. So we've got just a few more minutes to go, and I'm going to get Doc to round off and for us tonight. But before we round off, I want to say this: we've got two gifts to give to two people tonight. It's the book that Dr. Henry Akintode has just released. It's on leadership, and we want two people to have this book. We want to, like we say in church, we want to bless two people with this book, or we want to give two people this book for free. I just need you to do something for me very quickly. If you're listening to me and you're watching, just put in the comment section where you're from. Just put it in the comment section. That is how you're gonna get it. First come, first serve. Where you're from, let us hear from you in the comment section, and you're gonna get a free book posted to you free of charge on leadership. But ensure you read it when you get it. I'm waiting. Now, Doc, I want you to please speak about the book and show us. Unfortunately, I haven't got it on this laptop to project to the people, but I want you to please show us the book and tell us a little bit about it before we round off tonight.
Thank you, Pastor Tony.
You're welcome, sir.
This is the book. It's called Value Shift, Learning from the Best of Two Worlds. I think this book, Apostle has summarized this book for me, really.
Amazing.
This is the kind of dialogue I want to have with young people. A little bit about how and why I wrote this book. In 2016, I was invited by a group of young people, and they were talking about reinventing yourself for change. Medical students studying medicine in Ukraine, and it's the Nigerian Medical Association there. And that was when this message was put in my mind. After then, I've shared it with young people in Ghana and in Nigeria. And each time I saw the kind of response. And I felt the need to put it together to reach a greater number of audience. This is a summary of what I've basically learned from living in Nigeria and living in the UK. But not just my experience, speaking to other Africans. The book is focused on Africa, not just Nigeria. So I've interviewed friends from Ghana, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Kenya, Burundi, to get their opinions on these value systems that we're talking about. About 15 different value systems that I believe we need to start cultivating for Africa to arise and take its place. I believe that God determines the boundaries of nation and the times for every nation. I believe the time for Africa is near, but for that to happen, things need to change. Unfortunately, we've imbibed a lot of wrong value systems, and we now need to start imbibing the right one. So to get the book, you can get it on different places. I think the one place where you can find all the information about the different places to get it whether you're in Africa or in the UK, is my website, henryakitunde.com/value shift. And it will link you to where you can get it in West Africa, where you can get it here in the UK. And if you're buying multi-buy, there are discounts for 3, for 5, and in multiples of that. But really, the desire is for me to get that message across, that we need a change in value system. I believe in the fact that change will come through the young people, but I think the young people themselves must first change by getting the right value. And that's what this book is about.
Lovely. Thank you so much for that, Doc. I want to say it again. If you're watching and listening to this, we want to give you a copy. We want to give 2 people a copy each of this book by Dr. Henry Akintunde. Just let us know in the comment section where you're watching from, and I will be in touch with you directly, and this book will be posted to you free of charge. I want to take this time as a round of tonight to say a massive thank you to Apostle Jennifer Abigail. Thank you so much for making time out of your busy schedule. I know you're a very busy person, and it's been a full-on time for you in the last few months. And thank you for yielding to honoring this invitation to be here tonight. God bless you real good, man. And what do I say to Counselor Shiju? God bless you real good too. This is just the beginning. And Doctor, God bless you. Thank you so much. This is the beginning. And if you're watching this and you're Nigerian or you're a friend of Nigeria, let me tell you something. We don't change a nation just through mere aggression and protest. It is time we begin to sit down and begin to probe certain things, check our system values, check what we believe, and begin to join forces together the right way to build. We need to pray. We need to sit down and ask questions. We need to probe mindsets and cultural mindset, because some of the things that our culture sometimes teaches, they are very contrary to a life that is honorable and a life that is actually good. We're not going to change by just posting stuff on social media. I'm going to say that again. The generation that is so much online, you're not going to change a nation by just posting your aggression and posting certain things on social media. It is time we engage rightly to build, to learn, to construct, and to align with the purpose of God. I believe that the plan and the purpose of God for Nigeria is great, and I believe that if we align with God, we will see each prophecies that have gone over Nigeria come to pass. And believe me when I tell you, if you're not Christian or whatever, you're watching this, let me tell you something. We are not going to see a new Nigeria without being a people who are committed and dedicated to God, not religion. We have to become a people committed to truth. We have to become a people who are people committed to love. It is so true what Apostle said. The kind of hatred that I see among Nigerians sometimes makes me question if we're still human, because it's just beyond the normal. It is time to get up. It is time to get up. It is time to join forces together. It is time to pray together. It is time to learn together. It is time to join political parties. Don't speak in tongues and sit down. Don't sit down in your house and just speaking in tongues. Get up, do the spiritual, follow the truth, embrace the truth, do the practical. Get out there, belong to a party. Let's begin to do what is necessary to see the Nigeria that God has promised us. Because if we stay committed to Him and we do it His way, we will see the new Nigeria. A big, massive thank you to each and every one of our guests again. If you can, I want to charge you to please go into this comment section and flood it with appreciation for these wonderful people who have taken time out tonight to be a part of this. This is part of the Reformation. The Reformation has begun. It has started. God bless you real good, and I look forward to seeing you next month at the next edition of the Nigerian Conversation. Please go on Instagram, like the Nigerian Conversation account. Go on YouTube, go on Facebook and like the page. Spread the news. Thank you very much. God bless you real good. I can see somebody who's just We're going to be posting the book to Ghana. Amazing. Thank you for that. Thank you so much, everybody. God bless you real good. We're posting the book to Ghana. We've got one more to go. Amazing. God bless you real good. Have a wonderful night. I'm going to play you a tune now as we sign out. And if you can, please still share this. Share this. Let somebody get it. Share it and let somebody get it. Thank you very much. And have a wonderful night rest. God bless you real good.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Toye.
Thank
Apostle,
you.
Counselor, it's been nice.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Jesus Christ, Ike biya ne-ekwu. Ike biya ne-ekwu. Omo Jesus Christ, ono njaga bụ multi-millions. Omo Jesus Christ, Ike biya ne-ekwu. Omo Jesus Christ, ono njaga bụ multi-billions. Omo Jesus Christ, Ike biya ne-ekwu. Are you in America? Are you in Europe? Are you in China? Coronavirus. We never see you Lion family. Lion family recover. And me, good nature. In that post, keep our good nature. In that post, keep our Jesus Christ, no. On them, we no blood. Jesus Christ, oh, please, ya walk good nature. Before that, know them well. Good nature. And that more than a police station. Can you make you look me? Can you make you match you know?
And I says I saw on the china let's make up with it. And I got you one if I took a bulu, yeah. Anyada maka Ike kike batani gamano Anyada tujo Ike kike batafage kwete Ayo Bana balagu Bana balagu There is power, mighty power in the name of Jesus Christ.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Ike biya ne-ekwu. Oh, Jesus Christ, Ike biya ne-ekwu. Oh, Jesus Christ, ono njaga bụ multi-millions. Oh, Jesus Christ, Ike biya ne-ekwu. Oh, Jesus Christ, ono njaga bụ multi-billions. Oh, Jesus Christ, Ike biya ne-ekwu. meche interpose ipagose ọkwa mọ na frefọ ìjẹlẹ one of Africa anu méjì wá jánu méjì májì lóòdì old meche wọn dá sí ilé sí ìjàjà. Go. Big Smoke, stop.